ọwá mòjò òjílẹ̀gbẹ́ nọ́fin ọwálẹ̀ bí òtún kúrú ọmọ àkárìgbò ọláyẹni bí adé ọmọ àgèélẹ̀dóyè ó jọba tán ó tún jẹ dàgbúrè olúwa tápà olúwa ìgbàlùkà mọ́yínmọ́yín kò gbọ́fà olúwa ẹrú rẹ̀ kúnlẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ kọ́ba olúwa ẹrú rẹ̀ kúnlẹ̀ sí mábà òyìnbó tìmùtìmù kò kọminú àbárà ará ilé kò kọminú ará oko ńmèrí ńmàkó ò káàárẹ̀ ọmọ àfẹ́ kẹ̀nẹ́kẹ̀nẹ́ ọmọ àfẹ́ kò jẹpo kò jiyọ̀ ó fi ọwọ́ kẹ̀nẹ́kẹ̀nẹ́ kọ́ba ọlọ́mọ yẹyẹ nítako ó fi ọ̀run sè ó fi ọ̀run sọ ó fi igba àwo sọbẹ̀ rọ́mọ jẹ.
Orí rere lórí tiẹ̀ o. Orí rere. Orí rere lórí tiẹ̀ sẹ́. Ó ti kékeré mọ́lé Olúwa. Ó sì tún dàgbà sínú ìmọ́lẹ̀ o. Àtúbàjáyé lọmọ Màríà. Ó yá, wá fi jó rẹ̀ ìbà.
Baba, Engineer Olugbenga Olatunde Olabenjo, was born on the 30th of January 1951 at Mercy Hospital in Lagos, Nigeria. He grew up in Ebute Metta. His early days were shaped at the St. Jude's Anglican Church. Baba recalls such songs like Yí ẹsẹ̀ rẹ sí apá kan, má ṣe tẹ kòkòrò nì, kòkòrò tí ìwọ kò náání, Ọlọ́run ló lè dá a. This means, do not kill even an ordinary insect. You may not value the insect, but it is one of the creations of God Almighty. Such songs taught them to be compassionate and kind, even to insects, not to talk of human beings. Growing up in Ebute Metta was very interesting, Baba recounts. Baba's boyhood in Lagos was hugely different from the Lagos of today. His dad had built a house at Shomolu and they relocated from Ebute Metta. We had to cross a stream from our house to Pedro, and we had to pass through a fairly thick forest with a footpath. In those days, they would ring the bell and we could hear the bell in our house in Shomolu because everywhere was virtually empty. Growing up in those years was very interesting. Interesting from many angles, as Shomolu was a real Yoruba village with all sorts of traditional rituals. Baba's parents had a huge influence on him. He says of his father, I learned about courage and conviction from him. He was an incredible, forthright and courageous man. He was a very courageous man. He was blunt almost to a fault. When family members wanted to hear the truth about an issue, they always consulted him because they knew that Popo would tell them the way it is without mincing words. And I learned that from him. And from that angle, he was my role model. Of his mother, he said, the person who shaped my morals and values was my mother. She taught me many life skills, like washing my clothes, ironing my clothes, going to the market, cooking. She made deliberate effort to teach me these skills, and I was close to her. I was even close to her than my elder sister. I was my mother's ADC. I always followed her on visits to members of the extended family, carried a bag, and assisted her in every possible way. I never saw any person come to our house to demand payments of anything from my mother. She never bought on credit, and that stuck with me. I hardly borrow money. At the moment, I do not owe anybody, dead or alive, not even the government. I was one of those offered scholarship from the rest of my secondary school education. That is, from January 1965 till I finished secondary school. It was a full scholarship which covered my tuition and books as a day student. If I was in the boarding house, it would have covered my fees also. They also expected to see my report every term, and that further gave me the impetus to maintain my first position, which I retained throughout my sojourn in Eko Boys High School. More than anything else, I kept targeting higher scores every year. So, I was able to keep my scholarship. At the end of the day, it was through the seed my father sowed between 1939 and 1945 that got me through secondary school education. I had an exciting time in secondary school from Form 1 to the end. It was the best period of my life. In my school then, the best students in every subject got a prize, and that informed what I am doing now in the Olabenjo family to promote excellence at every level.
Bó ṣe níjó. Olugbenga Olatunde Olabenjo. Bó ṣe níjó. Olúwa pa ẹlẹ́rìn ayọ̀. Bó ṣe níjó. Bó ṣe níjó. Bó ṣe níjó. Olúwa pa ẹlẹ́rìn ayọ̀. Bó ṣe níjó. Ẹni Olúwa ṣe lóore o, kó nawọ́ sókè. Ó ṣe mí o, ó ṣe mí o, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Jésù olùgbàlà o. Hallelujah, mo wá dúpẹ́. Ènìyàn ló kọ́lé alájà mẹ́fà tó jáde láyé. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Jésù olùgbàlà o. Olúwa mà ṣeun o, bàbá mi mà ṣeun o. Olúwa mà ṣeun o. Olúwa mà ṣeun ẹ o, bàbá mi mà ṣeun jọ o. Oyè o, Olúwa mà ṣeun. Láyé Olugbenga Olatunde, bàbá mi mà ṣeun jọ o. Ó ṣeun ńláńláńláńlá. Olugbenga Olatunde Olabenjo, bàbá ṣeun o. Oyè o, Olúwa mà ṣeun o.
Before his university education, Baba had a 9-month period that was sandwiched between his A-level and the university. He spent that time teaching at Holy Child College. The time I spent teaching there were honestly one of the most fulfilling jobs I have done in my entire life. I threw myself into the job. And of course, I had good counsel from Mrs. Omoigu about my relationship with people and the girls precisely.
My name is Olatunde Olabenjo. I attended St. Mary's Convent School in Lagos, and on completion proceeded to Holy Child College, Obalende, Lagos. That was where I first met my husband, then Olugbenga Olabenjo. In 1970, he came to the school to teach us mathematics and physics. He was teaching my class physics at that time. But I want to say with all sense of responsibility and sincerity that there was nothing beyond teacher-student relationship between us. But as fate would have it, in 1979, I was posted to Kaduna for my NYSA, and that was where we met again by divine providence. And since then, we've maintained contact. Of course, I remember in those days that he was a very brilliant teacher, and a disciplined one at that. Probably that was why when we met again, I was attracted to him.
I first met my wife as a student at Holy Child College. She was then in Form 4, while I had just finished my HSC and I was teaching her class physics at that time. That was 1971, just before I went to Autobiography University. But there was no relationship as such in that 9 months period while I was teaching her, until we met again by divine arrangement, I would rather say.
One thing led to the other, and we got married on the 2nd of May 1981.
To the glory of God, that marriage will mark the 48th anniversary on the 2nd of May this year, by the grace of God.
I would say that he's a selfless person. He has a passion for education. He always made the children's school fees his priority, and he believes in excellence. He would propel them, encourage them to excel in all they did. I would also say that he's a very selfless person, one who loves helping people, one who would rather deny himself to put smiles on the faces of the less privileged. And this explains why, even in the church, he's a very active member of the Committee for the Disabled called Kudisa.
I'll say Baba is a disciplinarian. He's very, 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 very strict. He's a no-nonsense person. Does not take nonsense.
I remember growing up, we had like a regiment. So you can't put on television before 4 o'clock. And you can't play before 4 o'clock. And even when you go out to play, once it's 7, you have to be back in the house. Like, it was a strict rule.
My brother happens to be somebody who is well disciplined, even among his siblings. He doesn't tolerate laziness, he doesn't tolerate nonsense. He's a no-nonsense man.
Strong on integrity, discipline, and hard work. I remember growing up, he always pushed you to strive for academic excellence.
Appreciate excellence so much.
One of his values, which I know he emphasizes a lot, is excellence. Very charitable. He's very involved in a lot of charities. He loves to help people, and he's very firm.
One of the amazing things about him is he brought us up very well, like very strict upbringing. He's a disciplinarian for sure. He doesn't take nonsense, but I think that really helps me as a person because it gave me very good grounding.
To be a person of integrity, let your yes be yes and let your no be no. So those are parts of the qualities of my dad or his characteristics that I think rubbed off on me.
He was always there for us, always doing things for us. And I remember in particular one time when we went on a road trip and we were eating. He had bought food for us to eat. We stopped, we made a stop to have lunch. And I was like, "Oh, Daddy, aren't you going to eat?" And he said, "Don't worry, eat. Once you eat in, I'm fine." And for some reason, I still remember that in my head.
His devotion to God, his devotion to his children, his devotion to family, his acts of love and kindness to everyone around him. He's not a partial man. That has shown in my own life. I try to emulate him in my decision making too. I try to do things that, not just to my benefit, but to the benefit of others. And that's how Baba is. He does not make selfish decisions.
When we were very young, very little, and he could carry us. So there's this ritual we used to do sometimes, like he will carry us, each person, like he will start from the first child, which was me. So he will carry me on his back and start singing jam jam, jiggy jiggy.
They used to call me Jam Jam because I was a bit chubby growing up, because I was the chubbiest. And he would dance and call us Jam Jam,
Carry us round in a full circle in the sitting room, drop us on the bench, pick the second child, and then while he's carrying us, he's reciting all our names. So for me, he will say, "Oh, Nkechi, Oluwaseun, Olabisi, Olatokunbo."
Baba is an historian. He knows everything about everyone and about every place. So he's definitely a library of information.
I don't think it's any topic that you can discuss that Baba cannot engage you on. He's widely read and very knowledgeable about different topics and different subjects.
I remember when I was in primary school, when I came first and I told him to buy me a PlayStation, he bought me the complete Works of Shakespeare, one very huge book like this with like 500 pages that I never read till today.
I like to take pictures. He liked photography, even before it became a thing, before it became something that people now do for a living and people are proud to do. But I always had it as a hobby to take photographs. I always liked to take photographs. So whenever I had any events, our birthday parties, or even our birthday in school, he would really want to take pictures. And because of that, he hardly appeared in any of the pictures of us growing up.
Baba is an Ijebu man to the core. his favorite meal, eba and egusi, the Ijebu egusi with Titus fish.
I thank God that the children have turned out the way you have prayed. And like the Yorubas would say, all we are praying for is alikunri, because to say that God has not been merciful or kind to us will be denying His glory, will be denying His mercies, will be denying His abiding presence in this family. And for that, I remain grateful to God. I want to thank God that He's celebrating His 70th birthday today. This has always been one birthday He had always looked forward to celebrating. Thank God He's alive to celebrate it. Thank God He's in good health. Thank God He has the wherewithal to do all He's planned for His birthday. My prayer is that the Lord will continue to bless him. The Lord will continue to be with him. Bless him with good health, long life. The Lord will put years into his life and life into his years. And together we would continue in love and unity as one big happy family.
As I celebrate my 70th birthday, I want it to be a celebration of 70 years of God's goodness, mercy, and grace. As I told a friend recently, that henceforth I will not run after money. If money will not chase me, money will rather wait. All I intend to do going forward is to empty myself as much as possible of the talent, treasure, and time that God has endowed me with by giving service to humanity in whatever form. And my main focus is the care of the disabled, which I've been doing over the years. I intend to pursue that with all the grace that God has given me, and to touch lives in various ways. People think touching life means spending money. Many times you can touch life by just giving a word of advice that can turn around the fortune of a person or totally alter somebody's life for good. That will be my focus. Recently, I came across a book titled Die Empty. And the focus of that book is to ensure that one spends as much of one's talent, time, and treasure in the service of humanity, so that by the time you die, you have no regret that there is still something outstanding that you have not achieved or you have not done. And at the end of the day, one should realize that we came into this world with nothing. And definitely, absolutely, definitely, we'll leave this world the way we came, empty. And it's better in one's lifetime to use whatever treasure that God has entrusted you with in your lifetime to better the lot of your fellow men, rather than accumulating them. And when you die, your children don't even know what to do with those treasures. Especially the clothes we keep in our wardrobe. There are people who will benefit from our used clothes. It's better while we are alive that we should give them those benefits. So that is my focus. My focus primarily is to spend the rest of my life in service of humanity, especially the disabled and the disadvantaged in our society.
Ẹni Olúwa ṣe lóore o, kó ṣeun